let's dive right in. Now, I think our new slogan should be Defund the Politicians. Because if you look at it, they are largely the ones who have got us in this mess. I mean, yes, there has been apathy of the people, but bottom line is these parties, they engineer it, they groom their people, they groom these politicians usually, so that they will toe the party line, fall in line with the machine. You've seen this, like Frank Capra's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and similar films. So this kind of behavior has been going on for a long time. There's corruption. Wherever there is power and money, you will find corruption. So I say that we defund the politicians. I said it seems like some states like New York are losing some seats in the Congress or wherever because they are losing population. Well, that's a start. But bottom line is that I don't think we need politicians so much anymore. We could easily have the people vote on their own issues. Just spend a couple more minutes at the voting booth each year, and that would be voting on the issues. But see, the powers that be don't like that idea because then they can't lobby. They can't get their corrupt ways in. Because if they just, like you said, if they just took each issue and put it on the ballot, up for vote, do you think the people would vote to increase their taxes? Good luck with that. And even the moral issues, I hate to say it, like things like, abortion and, similar things, pet projects of the left that they have shoved through, that if it was put to a vote of the people would vote it down. And of course, like I said, all the various sexual groups that the left panders to, if it was put to a public vote, they'd never win. So that's why the left and the corrupt establishment, there are some fake Republicans in the corrupt establishment, they have an invested interest in keeping the system as it is, manageable, docile, and in control. And this is why we're having problems, because you have people, they're in it for the big payday, for the machine, to serve the machine and not to serve the people. And so that's why there's a concern of whether the voting works well for the people, because all these party members, whether they be Democrat or Republican, all these party members, they are trained to be the same. You get rid of one, vote one out of office, and they'll replace it with someone just as bad or worse. So it comes down to the selection of the people who are running. The people who are running are often just one corrupt puppet after another. So that sort of puts the people between a rock and a hard place. If you don't have good, honest citizens representing the people, then your system is sort of not working. And that's why we have come to the collapse that we have. When a big disaster strikes, these politicians, they don't know what to do. They can't handle it. Or you just go nuts because they're there for the money. This isn't supposed to happen to them. They're supposed to just, kick their problems down the road, just blame everybody else and then get away with it. Just get through their term and get to the next election, get to retirement. They're just trying to use crutches to pull their way through a political career. But when disasters strike, they don't know how to handle it. So we need to defund the politicians. We need to stop making it so attractive for them. Because power and money is always attractive to people. They have inflated egos and they want to be mini tyrants, so it's always attractive. So we've got to change the system so the politicians, actually, I hope the politicians have had a pay cut since the pandemic. If not, there should be an outcry. Because so many people have lost their jobs, and also so many other people have had pay cuts. That's the lucky ones, like me. We've just had small pay cuts. We're still working. So, the politicians should at least take a pay cut. The same with the people. And this is a problem. The elites want to stay on the top, and they want to just dish out crumbs, and they don't want to change our crumbling society. I talked about this in a couple videos back. Our whole system is a wreck. And you know why it's a wreck? It's a wreck because nobody wants to think outside the box. Nobody has any creativity or any initiative. I'm talking about the politicians. They just want to keep keep pumping money into a broken system and have it on life support. I said, instead of that, we need to have innovators. We need to have people with imagination and creativity. Like I said, this government welfare program is a bad idea. It's not constitutional because that is just taking money from hardworking people. And see, these politicians, they want that because that's buying them votes. So technically, it's illegal. But they get away with it because nobody has the power to challenge them. Now, I'm not saying we let everybody starve, and the same with Social Security being a Ponzi scheme, a legal Ponzi scheme. Go figure. And nothing has been done to try to fix it. And fixing it, I mean, the funds come from other sources. The funds come from actual work and actual things like investments. I think, there was Rockefeller. I watched a documentary on one of him, and he had some kind of system where he helped give money to the poor, but he supported them through a business. He gave the profits to support the poor or something. It has to be business based. It cannot any kind of social support system cannot be government tax based because that's wrong. But see, nobody wants to fight back. And these things need to be talked about and need to be proposed. And at a time when our country is everything goes, this is the time to start to discuss these changes. So I'm not saying that we let the old people starve. I'm not saying we let the sick people starve. I'm saying we have a different funding mechanism. We get the funds from someplace else and find another way to run things. And I said, as for all these mass homeless problems, the first place I would start would be find their relatives. Their relatives are responsible for them. Up to their fourth cousins, because families are supposed to be responsible for each other, but this stupid government wants to take away the family and the government can't afford to take care of people. Like I said, our system is broken beyond repair. And yes, the first thing to start getting this homeless problem fixed is to find their families. And then work on getting their families to help them and finding solutions, like I said, find the mental health solutions, find the solutions for the people with crime problems, find all these different solutions. And like I said, yes, there should be, obviously the jails are a terrible mess because people come out worse criminals than they went in. And that is obviously extreme failure of the system. There needs to be a reasonable work program that can work their way out and back into society as much as possible. Like I said, there are so many things that need fixed. And these negligent politicians have just been kicking the can down the road and ignoring the stampede of elephants in the room. So, I said, and that's not even addressing the moral rot in our country, but we need to fix some of the main issues that are causing it to fall and fail. So yes, defund the politicians. I propose that we change their job description. Their job description, it also pretty much cut them down to minimum wage, and then also their job description requires so many hours of community service in the community or state that they represent per year. Requires community service. So a little bit like a jail sentence. So, and then also they have to, they're public servants, and the people need to make sure the politicians are put in their places instead of thinking that they are the kings and queens of our land. So the people need to take initiative, but people have been just like, oh, you take care of it, I don't want to know, let's put it on autopilot. A couple weeks ago, I encountered a gentleman who was a leftist. He asked me right out what I thought of President Trump. And I had to tell him, I said, I'm Republican, I'm supporting Trump. And so, of course, he tried to say, oh, well, we need to listen to the news media. Oh, the government's just, they've always done the right thing by us. I said, he's a perfect illustration of why we're in the problem we're in. These people, they just want someone else to take care of it. Someone else take care of my freedom. Take care of my freedom. Government, please take care of me. Mama and Papa state. That's our problem. There are too many people who are willing to abdicate their freedom and their rights and just want the government to take care of them. I said, well, of course, I did best him in the argument. He had nothing to say when I said that the unborn babies had rights under the Constitution, human rights, to the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. I kind of changed the subject kind of quickly there, because, see, these leftists, they cannot defend their positions. All the facts are on our side. And I didn't even get to the part of bringing out the Bible. So, I mean, that poor guy, he thinks that the fake news media tells the truth. But what can you do? There's always going to be a few people like that. But basically, I said, these cities that are collapsing, I would say it just sounds like Sodom and Gomorrah. Just practically like fire's been rained down on them. So I thought, apparently God could not find 5 good people in those cities. That says a lot. Remember the passage where Abraham pleaded with God to spare Sodom and Gomorrah? And he said, okay, if I find 20 good people, if I find 15 good people, if I find 10 good people in the city, if I find even 5, I will spare the city. Apparently, Portland, Seattle, New York, Chicago, LA, all these cities that are now in flames did not have 5 good people living in them. So, that's pretty sad. So, we need to be the good Christian living in our city that helps get it spared from wrath and from judgment. So, okay, folks. Our new cry, defund the politicians. Let freedom ring.